Good morning, Loganites. So today we're going to do it a little differently. I'm headed to the hospital and I decided to take y'all with me. It is Sunday. It is the end of week 13 nurse practitioner school. But I got a lot of stuff going on, so I decided just, let's change it up a little bit. So for the past week, I've basically spent 50% of my time at the hospital. The past few days have been a little bit better. We've been switching out. Jennifer's sister's in town, Brittany, Jennifer's mom, me, Jennifer. We all been kind of backing off a little bit. This is actually Mark's first time being at the hospital all night alone. It's about time for it. Like I said, we're over the week period. We were there 24/7. Now, what I want to talk about after spending all this time in the hospital is you don't know what you don't know. And that statement encompasses a lot. So, great examples. An ER nurse wouldn't know, you should think about it, but I wouldn't think that this would be the first thing in your mind if you've got a levo-fed drip, okay? If you've got a levo drip and then you're given an antibiotic, I don't think the nurse would think to not Y-site the antibiotic in behind the levo, because you're going to flush the levo that's in the line like a bolus. And that's a big deal with a suppressor, right? You do not want to bolus a suppressor. So I watched a CVICU nurse do this. Well, I didn't realize that's what she did. I realized it after the fact. But after the fact, I realized she had the levo going into a line, and then she put the antibiotic right in a white site, so you had this much levo actually get flushed into him. It didn't affect his blood pressure or anything like that, thank God, but it's just little things like that that you don't think about, that you don't know, that you're not aware of. Other things like I had a lab tech come up, a phlebotomist come up, and what she did, she was pulling cultures again because we're worried about this sepsis stuff. She's pulling cultures and she cleans the site off real well, but instead of just letting it air dry, she then touches to feel the vein one more time, and then she goes to stick. And I was like, hey, can you please clean that site again, because we have had positive cultures and this is to rule out anything. So if it's contaminated, this causes more issues for us. Shit, I saw there's so much stuff. There's so much stuff that's happened in this hospital that it's hard for me or the rest of the family to sit there and trust all the healthcare providers, just because you don't know what you don't know. You can't possibly be aware of everything in the world. You can only do the best you can. But even that being said, I feel like there should be a little bit better standard of care. And these are trained people in the hospital. So what I've been having to do is I've been having to kind of feel it out, learn how to reorient, re-educate, readjust these folks to give the proper care that we're looking for. It's been hard, man. It really has. How do you, I immediately want to say, hey, you dumb butt, stop right now, stop. What the hell are you doing? They don't do the things that I would do, but it's just a different world. It's just a different world. The point of this is, as you're moving throughout your life and as you're learning things, don't ever think you have it all figured out, because there's so much that I don't know, right? The thing is, you got to be aware of the fact that you don't know what you don't know. You got to be open to the fact that there are things out there that you just won't ever be able to be aware of. You can't possibly be aware of every little minute detail, but to be open to these things. Now, the two things that I mentioned about the levo and the culture, you should know that. That's your job. Get it together, guys. A great example, so I was a paramedic. I was an EMT, I was a paramedic. I worked in the field for years, had traumas and all this other crazy stuff, medical calls, did the rural EMS stuff a little bit, and then did the city stuff while I was working at Le Bonheur. And we were doing all this stuff in the ER, and we had a bad trauma roll in. Bad trauma rolls in, we're working the trauma like we generally do, but then there's a change in the room where someone's like, he needs ECMO. Now, if you don't know what ECMO is extracorporeal membrane something. And what it is, it's a fake heart and lungs that you can put someone's blood through. So it pumps the blood and oxygenates it for the patient. It's big, It's crazy. It's a lot of stuff to get it going. It's not something you see every day. Well, up to this point in my career, I had never even heard of it. I had done all this great stuff. I was like in the traumas, proving myself in the ER. But I'd never heard of it. So you don't know what you don't know. The first time I heard it, the word, was in that room, and 20 minutes later they were on ECMO. Now, there's a lot of things going into it that shouldn't have happened in the ER. There was some policy procedure changes, but I saw ECMO the first time I heard it, which is wild. But that's just a good story of you don't know what you don't know. Well, another thing, like, I had been suturing forever, okay? Suturing forever. I didn't know that you need a different type of needle for heart muscle. How would you know that if you don't ever suture heart muscle? So, like, on one of these big bad traumas, they asked for a specific needle because you can't use a cutting edge on heart muscle. It has to be a certain type of thread, and it has to be the way the needle shape is special. They asked for it. I didn't even know what it was. It's like, you're talking gibberish to me, man. Like, I don't know what to do. So, like, called the OR and figured it out. But I'm just saying, there's all these little things out there that you don't know what you don't know. Recently, very recently, I started in dialysis, I guess like a year ago now. But the techs aren't like, I don't know, the most trained or educated. But there's like this running theory throughout all the techs, like, oh, we got to put betadine on them. They put these little betadine pads, like the little like 1x1s or 2x2s, on the actual needle sites to help stop the bleeding. Like, oh, it helps stop the bleeding. I do it every time. I'm gonna be real. I was like, that's some bullshit. If that actually helped stop the bleeding, we'd be throwing it into traumas. We would. Like, what the hell is this BS? But I did some research into it, and there is actually a research study where dentists that extract teeth in the sockets, they did a big randomized test, that if you flush with saline versus flushing with betadine, okay, and then you pack the wound, the ones that flush with betadine had like an 80% less rate of coming back with bleeding issues. And then the theory was that, betadine's actually this great thing for infection because it's it's like an anti-everything. It's an antimicrobial in the way that silver is, because the iodine is free radical iodine that slowly gets released over time. So it has all of these great properties. It's an antimicrobial, including bacteria, viral, fungal. It does actually help stop the bleeding in the way that it almost slowly cauterizes the wound, because you've got those free iodine slowly coming off. Basically, if I remember everything correct. Take it with a grain of salt, right? I'm not a doctor yet. But there was this huge thing that I didn't know about, and I wouldn't know if you don't know. So I say all of this so that if you're out there and you're like going through your career, it's a good gut check to realize that there is stuff out there that you don't know, and that when you're in these rooms with these family members, man, just be nice to them, dude. Like, I've had a lot of great nurses. I have a lot of great techs, great hospital staff in general. But there's been a few nurses that have just been mean as a mother. It makes me so angry that how rude they've been. Just maybe two of them, just rude, where I'm trying to be helpful. Like, I'm not trying to do your job for you, but I'm also not going to let you hurt my father. So, like, there's things you don't know. There's things that you don't know. And just be nice. Be nice. I try to always be nice to everyone that I meet, just because you don't know what they've had to deal with. You don't know what their days have been like. You don't know what they're dealing with at home. Like, there's so many things that can be happening in this world, because this world, let's be real, isn't nice. Like, the world inherently isn't nice. We as people are nice and want to take care of each other, but the world itself doesn't care if you're a stand-up citizen whether or not a tree falls on your house. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't control extenuating circumstances, so you have to be cognizant of that fact that people are going through shit. They're just going through shit. And sometimes you're the person that's just adding a little extra to it. Don't be that person. That's all I'm going to say about that. as far as school's going, because I know this is also nurse practitioner updates and stuff, I feel like this is a good relationship between us. You know, like a good, for lack of a better word, therapy. Talking it out, feeling it out. School has been going good. Now, I'm not gonna lie, okay, so this past week we've been doing ICU stuff with my father-in-law and everything. It's been really, really rough. So last week, I've got this epidemiology class, and I don't like it. I don't like it because what it is it's epidemiology and biostatistics combined, because it used to be 2 separate classes. So you've got double the coursework in one course. Why is that a good idea? I don't know. But basically, every single week I'm doing, like this week, I've done a paper, a test, and I gotta go do a bunch of statistic homework and send it in today because it's Sunday and it's due tonight, and I've been dragging my feet because I really dislike it. Last week, I had the same thing going on. I had a test, a paper, and some statistic homework that I had to do. Now, I did cut some corners here, and I'm not gonna lie, it's not my best move. What I did was, I did everything, got a good grade on the test, put all the effort into the paper, got to the statistic homework, did like 80% of it, got to the last question, and it was going to take me like 2 hours to figure out. And I honestly just said, screw it. I'm not going to sit here and try to figure this stuff out. So I kind of BS'd it, wrapped it in a nice little package, and sent it in. Is that what I should have done? No. But when you've been in the hospital for 7 days and you've been working and you've been dealing with like your kid and your wife and anxiety and family, it's just not worth it. And I didn't really feel like doing it. I didn't. Now, the repercussions for that. I got the grade back, and the grade was like a 75. Okay, that's not bad. I'm okay with that. I put in about 75% of the effort on the homework section. The downside is, now my average is kind of slowly dropped down to like a 92, which still isn't bad, but in this program, anything less than I think an 85 is failure. Anything less than a B is failure. So I have to get 85 and above, I'm down to a 91 where I was up, or like 91, 92, 91 and a half, where I was at a 95. So this test, taking this test yesterday for the same class, so now that I know my grade's a 91 and a half, I'm like, I really need to bring that grade up so I've got some wiggle room for finals and other shit like that. So, I go take the test, and I get into the test, and I've read the whole chapter and everything. I've written the paper. I think I'm ready for the test. The test is basically in gibberish. I'm going to be quite honest. Like, I guess I didn't really understand the chapter. The test seems gibberish to me. I'm like, I'm basically speaking French. I don't understand any of this statistic stuff. Like, I don't even care about it. I'm gonna be quite honest. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I sit there and I look at it and I go, I'm never gonna use this. I'm gonna make sure that I am in a part of my life where I do not use this crap. I don't like it. It's not fun, but I still have to do it for school. So I'm sitting there and I'm realizing this could be my make it or break it point. If I get a really bad grade on this test, it's gonna drop my average even lower, and that's gonna set me up for failure down the road. So, I take the entire hour, like it's open book stuff, and I'm like looking through the book, trying to decipher this stuff, trying to figure it out, talking about all of these different functions, z-test, t-test, chi-square test. I don't get it. I'm good at math, but I'm not like a math guy. I don't feel like we should be having to learn this crap. Because here's the thing, for the DNP program, they all say you're not here to do research, you're here to implement research in the practice. You're here to take research and put it into practice. That is your role here. Not only to take care of patients, but to extend our practice into the future through good, viable research that's available right now. Because right now, we're still, like 17, 11 years from making the research to actually it being acceptable practice. The end of the story, the good news of all of this is that I freaking passed the test. I passed the test. I made, not only passed, I made 100 on it. So I made 100 on that. I wrote the paper, and I'm gonna go up here to the hospital and do all the BS homework. And I'm actually gonna do it this time. There's no excuse. I didn't do it last time. I've slowly watched myself just slip out of my norm of really trying hard. But I'm gonna go up there and I'm gonna do it. I am. Other classes are coming to a fold. So my DMP seminar, I don't think I have much left in it. My economics class, I gotta get on top of that. I've got a group project that we're doing, and I have not been active whatsoever. It's like a grant proposal, for a fake grant proposal. Then theory and philosophy. Woo, man, theory and philosophy. That's the one where I got failed on a paper. I argued it with him, and he still didn't give me any more points than what I failed at. And I was like, wow, this really sucks. I've actually got hundreds since then. So my average is a 93-ish. Still not failing in anything, but I prefer to have A's to roll me into the next semester. I would like to have a good track record. I mean, I don't need it. And if it comes down to it, I'm totally cool with just passing. Don't get me wrong, because I'm a big proponent of what's the difference between an A nurse and a C nurse? Not a damn thing. They both get paid the same. Because this is the other thing that I have an issue with is school is almost like a game, because if you do good in school, it doesn't necessarily reflect that you'll be a good nurse or nurse practitioner. Just because you're an A student does not mean you will be a stellar nurse. That's the part that I have an issue with. Internally, internal motivation. It doesn't matter for the school. You do what you gotta do to get through. But if you're not really getting... If there's no reward for all the effort you're putting into the school, it doesn't matter. I don't know. And that's tough for me to reconcile in my brain. It really is. Also, I know you've been watching this long. I apologize for the state of my car. I've been meaning to fix the headliner, and I got a headlight out and stuff. But stuff happens and it gets away from you. Well, guys, I'm about to pull up here to the hospital. I'm going to go ahead and sign out. I will see you next week on The Price is Right. It's nursing with Logan. Nurse practitioning with Logan. I don't know. Whatever you want to call this, guys. You know who I am. You know what's going on. Keep your corn on the cob.